Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita session. Radhe Radhe, Nitinji, over to you.
Thank you, Pallaviji, and thank you, Prakash and Sunil Bhai, for a wonderful session, like always. So, Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day or had a great day. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. We will get started by seeking the blessings of God and Guru, like we always do. So let me share my screen and we will get started. Okay, we'll do our opening prayers then. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to everyone. So we have been on the auspicious occasion of Radha Ashtami, we have been doing a series on Radha Tattva. Today we are back on our Shloka series. We are on Shloka 4.24. However, just so that we can savor a little more ras, I came across a very beautiful Leela from Swamiji on Radha Rani's Bal Leela. So we're going to do that as part of our devotional segment. I'll narrate a beautiful Bal Leela story and a bit of singing around that as well in our devotional segment. So let's get started with today's topic. Today is 4.24. I'm going to recite it and then you're welcome to follow along. And like any other shloka, this is a very important shloka as well. And we'll probably have a couple of sessions which we would probably need to do the justice to the shloka. So I'll recite it and then you're welcome to follow along. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Lot of Brahm here. Okay. Hope it doesn't cause any Brahm. So yeah, a lot of Brahms here in this one. Go ahead, please.
Radhe Radhe. Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Sandhya.
Brahmarpanam Brahmhavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Wonderful, very nice. Thank you, Sandhya. Who's next?
Uday Kumar ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Radhe Radhe.
Nice, thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Rahul ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Rahul.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir
We lost
Brahmevtena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Okay, we can take the remaining two hands.
Raghi ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Radhe Radhe. Brahma Arpanam Brahmahavir Brahma Agno Brahmanahutam Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji, please go ahead.
Riya ji.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva tena gantavyam Brahma karma samadhina.
Very nice. Thank you, Riya ji. I see one more hand.
Yes. Ashutosh ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे राधे ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्मार्गनो ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
nice. Radhe Radhe. So let's get started. So in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying that for those who are completely absorbed in God consciousness, the oblation is Brahman, the ladle with which it is offered is Brahman, the act of offering is Brahman, and the sacrificial fire is also Brahman, right? Pretty advanced concept. We'll try to get to it today. Such persons who view everything as God easily attain him. Now, is so simply said that such persons who view everything as God easily attain him, right? It's so easy, but to do that is difficult. But if you do that, then it becomes easy. Right? So God is indirectly telling, is saying it's very easy. You can easily attain me if you can just see God in everyone. Essentially, the message here is. So let's get started. Give me a sec. Now, by the way, this is also used as a food mantra as well, right? In Balmukund, when we teach, this is also a food mantra that before food, you can have this. By the way, before meditation also, you can have it. We'll talk about it. But this is a shloka. Essentially, the gist of this shloka is that when you are completely absorbed in God consciousness, everything, you see God in everything. And you say, why should I see God in everything? There's a reason for that. Okay, so let's get deeper into the shloka today. So let's get started. Like always, we start with our soul soup segment. So today's soul soup is Drishti Badle, Srishti Badle. Okay, now for the benefit of people, this is a very loaded Hindi words right here. What it means is change your lens and change your world. It's a pretty interesting concept. Change your lens, change your world. Okay, talking of lens, here you see the lens. Okay, if you change that lens, the way you look at the world will change altogether. And it is an important concept, actually. Now, let's understand it through a story, quick story. And the story is between Akbar and Birbal. Okay, there are a lot of stories related to Akbar and Birbal. Akbar used to be the emperor of Bharatvarsh, and Birbal was his very smart, what do you call, one of the person in his court. And he used to give a lot of good nuggets to Akbar, especially when he would get stuck. Now, there was one situation where it is said that not Akbar, but his daughter or Akbar, anyway, let's understand the concept here. They were diagnosed with an ailment where the doctor suggested that this person is only supposed to see green. Okay, so then Akbar ordered, let's paint everything green. Take me to green places, paint then my entire room green, make people wear green clothes, and green, green, green everywhere. So then Birbal came to Akbar and he said, you know what? Instead of painting everything green, if you could simply wear these green glasses, okay, just assume the lens is green here, then you will see everything green. So there's a very deep message here. Rather than, so our endeavors is to change the world. The person should be like that, the person should behave like this, he should say that, he should have said that, should behave like that, all that stuff. Can we really paint the world green around us? It's a similar situation, right? We really can't. Rather, we change our perspective around it, and the things will start falling in place. It's a very important concept. And even if you look at it from a Karma Yoga standpoint as well, we are focusing on the sphere of our influence as opposed to going amongst the uncontrollables. How many variables or dynamics are there in this world? How many people do we interact with? How many situations are we likely to encounter in our lives? Can we change any of it? Do we have control over it? Now, if we build an expectation that everything should happen in accordance to our wishes, that is not how it's meant to be. Then you are signing up for stress, you're signing up for disappointment, you're signing up for becoming sad. The better strategy is to change your perspective around things. And building that perspective is also Bhagavad Gita is a manual which gives you a perspective on how to see things and life around. There are people who have a mindset of finding faults in everything in the world, right? Their perspective is the world is inherently bad. People are out to get you. So they will think everything is like, they're always skeptical about everything and all the transactions and the dealings with people around as well, because they're skeptical in their mindset. The glasses that they are wearing is tell them, this world is a shady place, everybody is selfish. Of course they are, but they are all out to get you. Okay, and if you approach with that, you will always be skeptical about it. And there are people who think, the world is a good place to be in. And people are generally good, but sometimes circumstances make them behave differently. So then you have a positive outlook about life, right? You approach things with positivity, and it's an echo principle. You get the same reciprocation more often than not as well. So changing our perspective or changing the lens is very important. And when you fall into a negativity trap, you get into a reconfirmation bias. Reconfirmation bias is where you have already predisposed to thinking in a certain way, and all you need is a confirmation, and you are seeking that confirmation in every situation. All of us fall to that trap. Okay, you can introspect and see when you've already made up your mind about somebody or something. All you are looking for is a reconfirmation at that point. That is how it goes. In fact, in corporate screenings and interviews as well, they say typically the candidate is screened in the first 4, 5, 6 minutes. They make up their mind. The interviewer usually makes up their mind, and then it's just a reconfirmation bias after that. Okay, because we wear certain lenses, we go with certain stereotypes and all. So the more objectivity we can bring in and the most positive outlook that we can develop, the better off we are. And in spirituality, in order for us to have faith, and in order for us to have nishtha and all those things, it's important to have a positive outlook. Otherwise, if we remain skeptical and doubtful about everything, then we'll never be able to progress, right? It's a journey of faith. And in fact, in Bhagavad Gita 4.9 as well, not in 4.9, maybe 4.31 or 4.24, Lord is saying that Sanshayatma Vinashyati. If you are always skeptical and doubtful, then Sanshayatma Vinashyati, you will surely have a downfall. Na lokosti na paro sukham, he says. Neither you will have happiness in this world nor in life thereafter. So it's important to develop a positive outlook, faith, and think, and work towards that. So that was the key message today. Now let's get started with our topic today. Now, when God is saying the one who sees God in everything, that person easily attains me. Now, let's understand the science behind it. Okay, why we should see God? Is there a reason? Of course, there is a reason, right? Now, we will get into that. Now, let's look at some cuisines to begin with. You have a Chinese cuisine, Italian cuisine. Hopefully, you've had your food. Okay, it's not going to whet up your appetite. Then you have an American cuisine of whatever you may want to call as an American cuisine. Indian cuisine, right? All these cuisines, we are aware of it. Then we have precious stones. This is a family of cuisines I showed you. Now, precious stones, you see and then you see gadgets, and then you see luxury cars, and then you see palatial homes, and then you see people types, rich, poor, famous, powerful, right? All these. they all have something in common. Okay, they are made up of the same element. What you're seeing here, forget about the soul part of it. They are all have a commonality amongst themselves. Okay, what is the common denominator? I'll get to that. So you can just park that thought for now. What is common between all these? We'll get to that. Now, let's understand it from you see the Spider-Man here and a web that has been woven. Our scriptures say that there is a similarity between a spider's web and the creation we dwell in. Okay, what is the similarity? The similarity is Mundak Upanishad says that just like a spider projects forth and draws back its threads as plants grow on earth, as hairs grow on the body, so does the universe emerge from the imperishable being. So when the spider creates a web, does it go shopping and say, I need this material? It goes to a Home Depot or Walmart or some place, buys material and then starts constructing it? It doesn't. Where does it get the material from? It gets the material from its own body. Okay, through its own body, it's able to create that. And when the web is no longer needed, the job of web is done, of catching all the insects and contributing to the ecosystem in its own little way, like the spider does. Then it takes the web back into its body, unless you have broken it or some catastrophe has befallen upon it. Similarly, God alone, he visualizes the creation. It's God who just visualizes it. And it alone is material as well. And he's the cosmic architect. So when he creates the world, he does not go out getting the material from someplace. It all emanates from God. And then when the annihilation happens, it all comes back to God. Okay, so that is the similarity between the creation and the way spider projects forth its web as well. The material comes from God and it goes back into God. Now you'll say, how does the material come about from God? Let's look at that as well. So Sankhya Darshan talks about it, this analytical enumeration. So we have spoken about this, but there's no harm in revising it again. So Purusha, which is the God, the original, the entity, God alone. So the Param Purush, there is only one Param Purush, which is God. Everybody, the soul does not have a gender, but technically, if there was one, all are females, because there is only one Param Purush. Okay. Now, the Purush, it glances at Prakriti, simply glances at Prakriti, and the action starts to unfold because it has done a sankalp. When God does a sankalp means he thinks about something and it happens, it starts to manifest. When we have to think about something, we have to think, plan, take some action, and then it may or may not happen. Those kind of things may happen. But when God desires something, it simply glances at Prakriti and everything starts unfolding. What starts unfolding? Prakriti gives rise to Mahan Tattva. The Mahan Tattva gives rise to Ahamkar Tattva. Ahamkar Tattva gives rise to, anyways, and these gunas plus the Panch Tanmatra. Panch Tanmatras. Okay, the Panch Tanmatras give rise to Panch Mahabhut, which is ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And then through that comes the sensation of sound, touch, form, taste, smell that we all experience, right? 5 indriyas that we have, which map to, and then we have the mind, Gyanindriyas and Karmindriyas, right? So this is our gross body essentially. So this is how this whole thing comes about. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
There is a comment from David G related to what you're discussing. So
Sure.
can I read it?
Yes.
So he says these examples are related to each other by the manner of their emergence. I guess the spider web aspect he's talking about. They
Yes.
emerge slowly and consistently, and we cannot notice it happening as it is happening. Only we can take glimpses and we notice the progress.
True. During our lifetime, yes. But when the creation comes about, it's already there, right? We are just placed into a suitable mother's womb. That's it. right? When we come about. Yeah, David, you wanted to say something?
Apparently, he has some audio. Okay.
Yes.
I'll try. Radhe Radhe. It's happening now. The universe is unfolding now.
Yeah. So basically,
slowly, and the hairs grow slowly, and the plants grow slowly, and we can't watch it happen like you can't watch the water boil.
one is
But
one is the progression of our bodies and our gross body, that even the molecules of our body, and the cells of our body, every 7 years they change completely, right? That is one aspect of it, but I'm talking even at the broader level, right? When annihilation happens, there's absolutely nothing. Now, what science calls as a big bang, that's what I'm trying to explain basically. How does that come about? God glances, so the ultimate element, the God only remains at that moment, right? Everything in his Mahodar. Then he glances at Prakriti and this whole creation starts to unfold. Mahan Tattva comes, Ahamkar Tattva comes, Panchtan Matras, ether, air, water, air, everything gets created. And even the creation comes about, right? If you look at the big forest, did somebody go manually and plant each tree there? We have Amazon forest and so many forests out there. How did so many trees come? So point is, the creation unfolds, and then the souls, they get the suitable womb and a suitable Brahmand in which they are supposed to get based on their past sanskars, the causal body that they have, and the subtle body, the mind that travels with the soul lifetime after lifetime. Whenever they come back as human, they repeat with the same mind. So our mind does not change at all. But the point here is, this whole thing is coming from God. He's not getting that material from outside, right? Let's understand the technology, right? How is it? When I talk about the Prakriti, it's his energy. Then Mahan Tattva comes from that. Ahamkar Tattva comes from that. Panch Tanmatra come, and all the 5 elements, they are created. And if you look at these 5 elements, they map to each of our senses as well, right? The size, the sight, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Now, this is an important thing. Now, ether sky, nobody has the technology to create that. Does science understand that element? It doesn't. Nobody understands it. We cannot create ether. Now, so that is the first element that's created. However, the ether, you can neither see that, nor taste it, nor feel it. And of course, none of the senses can perceive it, right? So then God, basically the first thing, but you need that for sound to travel. So ether, the element that is needed for the sound, was created first, which is mapped to our ear, right? The sound you can hear through ear only. Now the God only has this technology which he gives to Brahmaji. The compression of ether results in air. The air is contained within the sky element. Now air gives us a feel. Ether does not give us a feel, but God has that technology to introduce the element of feel now. You can feel the air, right? Cool breeze is blowing, or there's hot breeze, basically not hot breeze, but hot air, and like loo, they call it in Hindi. So then you get the sensation of feel because our skin can feel it. Then furthermore, you compress the air, compression of air. Now you can feel it, but air you can't see. So God says, never mind. I'm going to give you the the form, and as well in form of fire. And now it is something that is directly perceptible through your eye. So now you can see fire as well, but you can't taste fire, right? Now fire is the only pratyaksha devata that we see, and that is why so many things are done keeping fire as a witness, right? Including marriage. You take 7 chakras, so fire is the witness, because fire is a devata as well. And but fire we cannot taste. So then God can actually create. He created from fire water. Now water can be taste. It introduces the sense of taste. See, if your tongue is dry and somebody puts anything on top of it, you cannot taste it. Okay, it's only with the saliva that water comes in, you get the taste. Raso, in fact, in Bhagavad Gita, down in further chapter, Lord Krishna is going to say, I am the taste in the water. Okay, so now the water element has come, because of which you get taste. And then the water you cannot smell, right? Then comes the earth element. And earth basically constitutes the smell aspect of it as well with nose. Now, Om, I just introduced that here. So the sound was the first one, right? Even in Bible, it says, first there was a word, the word was with God, and the word was God. Okay, so it all starts with sound. And that is why our Brahmand is called the Omkar Brahmand, because Om is the sound of this cosmic universe. If you quieten your mind, if you can do that, you can hear that vibration of Om actually. So sound is the basis for everything, because through sound comes the feel and then see, taste and smell. This is how it works. Now earth, if you look at it, earth has all the 5 elements in it. And earth is something that we all are made up of as well. So when anybody dies, depending upon the tradition that they follow, either they are burnt, either they are buried, or they are thrown to sea, or they are thrown to vultures. But regardless of what happens, it all becomes mud finally. So from mud unto mud. Bible also says from dust unto dust. So you go back to that. And that is a common thing across everything. Now, if you look at these elements that we spoke about, right? Initially, all the cuisines and all, they all are derivatives of mud. Right? If you look at it, they are nothing but derivatives of mud. They come from crops, grains, and then you do plus minus to come up with all the cuisines. Even the precious stones, they are in the womb of earth. They are also derivatives of mud. Everything is a derivative of mud. All the elements that chemistry we have, spoken about the elements or learned about the elements. The food that we consume comes, and then it's nothing but a derivative of mud. We can do plus minus. Scientists or technologists can use the elements and make new things like gadgets, cars, Teslas, spacecrafts. But can they create the basic elements? They cannot. We can do plus minus with that and create new things, but we cannot create the basic 5 elements that God creates basically. And he basically manifests through his body itself by glancing at Prakriti and everything. And when the Mahapralay happens, so I hope it's making sense, when the Mahapralay happens, the reverse cycle happens. Then what happens? The earth rolls back into water, water rolls back into fire, fire rolls back into air, air rolls back into ether, ether into tanmatras, tanmatras into the ahamkar tattva into mahan tattva into prakriti tattva, and finally back to Purusha. And then there is nobody other than God. We are sitting in God's Mahodar in our causal bodies and our sanskars until he decides to unleash it again and put us in a suitable womb again. Okay, this is how reverse it works. So when everything is God, only when you are at a particular stage of, spirituality, advanced stage of spirituality, like we spoke about the different levels of bhakti we spoke about, when you are sufficiently purified, sufficiently in the consciousness, godly consciousness, when you have already gone past self-realization that I am a soul and those kind of things, can you see God in everything? Until then, he'll not be, we cannot perceive him through our material senses. Only when we get divine senses through his grace, then we'll be able to perceive him as he is. Okay, now with that said, I hope it makes sense why God is saying that those people who see God in everything or me in everything easily attain me. The easily attain is fine. It's like the final push. But for us to reach that stage where we perceive him and everything takes a lot. Now let's talk about who's a perfect spiritualist and what stage. It's an introspective activity we can do for ourselves to see which category we fall into. And also it will give us an idea on how our journey should look like, how far away we are from that journey. Okay, so let's talk about this concept as well. That this will have discussion. The first stage or category of people is who focuses on bad in others. You know what, this person has this problem, that problem, and all problems, right? That is the first kind of a category of people whose mindset gets attracted towards problems, defects, and bad things in others, right? It's like that those flies, they always find some kind of a garbage to sit on. only focuses that. Then the second category of people is they focus on good plus bad in others. You look at good as well. Most of the people fall in that category. They look at good, but they look at bad as well. Okay, this guy is good, but this guy has this kind of a problem, kind of a deal. So that is the second. Most majority fall in this category. The third is focuses on good in others and rejects bad in others. Focus only on good. Just do not lend mind space to the bad aspect of it at all. Okay, that would be the third stage. You understand, we all are a mixed bag of virtues and imperfections. So they understand the bigger picture, and people will have problems. So do I. So what's the big deal? So they start focusing on the good things for their own journey so that they can take inspiration from it, and their mind does not gravitate towards the defect, right? In Radha Govind Gita also Maharaj Ji says, Par dosh dekho nahi, Govind Radhe, aisa bana de, basically. So when you look at others, dwell on others' dosh, it brings in that impurity in us as well. So they do understand, because now they are practicing spirituality. They are not just hearing spirituality, they focus on good and reject the bad. That is the third stage. Then what happens? The fourth stage is they see God, divinity in others, plus non-divinity aspect as well. Now they started seeing divinity in others. Okay, this is an important concept now. Now you're seeing divinity. So just bring the picture, close your eyes and think, bring the picture of a person who is playing on your nerves all the time, whom you don't want to see the face of, right? Now, if you can see God and Krishna residing in that person, or Lord Ram residing in that person, or your Devi Ma or Lord Shiv residing, that is the stage they start reaching. And there's a beautiful story of Sant Namdev, where he would see divinity in everything around. So one day he was preparing chapatis, right? And he was planning to put ghee on it. And a dog came and it grabbed the chapati and started running. And so he said, stop, my Lord, how can you go around? It will hurt your throat. I have not put the ghee on it as yet, right? So he's seeing divinity even in a dog. That is the stage of a saint. Okay, now what is the next step? Now we are getting closer to the concept what God is talking about, Brahmagno Brahmarpanan, right? That sees divinity in everything. There's another stage, by the way. The other stage is sees divinity in everything. There's no non-divinity aspect at all. Okay, that is the stage. Now, technically, they are called Hans and Paramhans. Okay, Hans is something, swan is something. If you feed it milk, it will take the milk, leave the water, right? And Paramhans, basically, it can separate milk and water, but Paramhans sees milk in everything only. Now, Paramhans, saints are Paramhans only. But then for them, if they are in a Paramhans stage, then they cannot operate effectively in this world. What if they are seeing God in everything, right? Like in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his advanced stages, he was a Paramhans as well, right? It is said that he could not even get himself to eat rice because he'll see Krishna in that as well. How will you eat God, right? So that is a stage which becomes impractical for them. And that is why they tone down and come to a Hans stage to be effective and to preach. So a couple of examples from our scriptures. The Paramhans is Shukadev, the son of Vedvyas. And Vedvyas himself was a Paramhans as well. But then he became a Hans because he had to write. And, so he was a Hans and Shukadev was a Paramhans. And there's a legend, there's a story that goes around that Shukadev, I think he was a Paramhans, right? Shukadev is basically in the Leela Jagat, he's the Shuk of Radharani. So he took birth in Vedvyas, he was in Vedvyas' wife's womb. And then when Vedvyas would give some scriptural references, that he would correct it from within, in mother's womb only. So Vedvyas would think, what kind of a soul is it? And then he did not come out for 12 years because he was said, when I'll come out, the Maya will grip me in Leela Jagat, right? And then finally Naradji, I think, convinced him to come out. And then when he came out, he immediately through his yoga became a 12-year-old. And the moment he came out, he simply walked off, right? So when he was walked off, he just walked off towards the jungle. There were some ladies who were taking bath on the way, and they kept on doing that. When Vedvyas, in search of his son, was walking by, the ladies became a little conscious, and Vedvyas took a little bit of an offensive. He got offended that when my son walked past, you did not, basically take any corrective measures. But when you see me, you started doing that. You became conscious. Why is it so? They said when he was walking, through their eyes, we could make out, that he's at a different level altogether, league altogether. But when you came, we saw a slight change in your eyes, and that slight change might have been because of anger or whatever. But the point here is that he was Hans and he was Paramhans, and he simply walked off and started doing meditation. And then the story goes that his meditation nobody could break until somebody recited a verse of Lord Krishna, and that basically broke his trance. Nevertheless, the point here is these are the different stages. So Hans and Paramhans stage are we talking about, and God, basically it's like everything is God. But people who are a perfect spiritualist is actually in the Hans Paramhans category, where they see divinity in everything. But from a stepping stone standpoint, we need to move from stage 1 to 2 to 3 and until to stage 4 through devotion and purifying our antakaran. With that said, I'll take a quick pause. Any questions around what we have spoken about on this concept? And why is it important to focus on good in others and reject bad in others? Okay, that is the first thing. And then, of course, the divinity aspect is something that is going to manifest as we keep on cleansing our antakaran. So bring that person's image in your mind whom you just don't like. If you are able to see divinity in that person, then the job is done. Okay, it's a very simple test. Okay, any questions so far? Yes, Sandhya.
Yes, Sandhya ji. Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. So regarding seeing divinity in others, there was just one perspective that I wanted to bring and kind of get your input. So if we see anything good, nice, attractive in any individual around us, thinking of that as just a small fraction of what God is, and that if takes us even more closer to God,
True.
that's the right attitude, right?
That's the right attitude. And conversely, when you see something bad in somebody, then you see, Krishna, I know it's your way of testing me. You still channelize it, dovetail it towards, I know you are kind of testing me now by, manifesting that behavior in that person. That is the right way of channelizing even the negative aspect of it as well, right? So yeah.
Very true. And
Anything that good is but a spark of God's splendor, right? We have already spoken about it. So yes, that's a good way to relate to it. Very true.
And RKG have asked a question. If we experience always bitter things in particular person, then it is very difficult to feel good about that person. In that case, how one needs to be?
How one needs to go. So I think we need to bring in that knowledge. One aspect of it is you go to the cause of it, right? The very first thing today in our soul soup segment that I brought in is the drishti badle, srishti badle, right? You change your lens around it. I'm sure that person will have at least one good quality, and maybe you have fallen into that trap of, disliking that person, and then that after that, what happens is the reconfirmation bias. So there must be something good about that person, at least one thing. The only person about whom we can't find a single good thing about is somebody who's insentient, right? Not alive anymore. That even then you find a lot of good things about them, but try to find that, or at least if it is it's a big struggle point because of whatever your experiences are, then at least strive to become neutral towards it. Because if you're going to harbor bitterness and resentment towards that person, you are doing your own self the biggest harm. It's like a vessel holding an acid. That vessel is going to deteriorate over time. It's a very simple principle. God did not create us to become bitter or resentful, right? We are going further away from God. We are making our sanskars bad. We are digging a pit for ourselves, and we are losing time to practice devotion. What good does it do to practice bitterness and resentment for anybody? It's like it's the biggest gift we can give to ourselves by taking ourselves out of that jail. Otherwise, if we choose to remain in a prison, so be it. It's our choice. Why would somebody like to stay in a prison? Is it fun? Is it happy? Does it give us happiness practicing resentment? or thinking negative about anybody. It doesn't. Who is suffering? We are suffering. So any smart, rational, logical, thinking, wise person can beat this with knowledge in their own head. But if somebody is hung up on that to keep fueling the negativity, then nobody can, even God can't help them, right? So that is how we need to beat that with knowledge for our own sake, not for anybody else's sake. That was a person, right? I spoke about in one of our sessions, that Nazi concentration camp. These guys were severely tortured for 30 years and now they were out. They survived that ordeal. So this prisoner inmate asked the other one, have you forgiven the Nazis, for all the torture that they gave us? He said, never, never, ever can I forgive them for all the torture and humiliation they subjected me to. So then this person said, then in that case, you are still in prison. Even after 30 years, if he's not able to let go, he's still in prison and he can spend the remaining life in prison as well. That is how it goes. And that is why one of the things that Nelson Mandela did was to embrace, Springbok used to be a cursed word because it basically was a symbol of a white supremacy in South Africa, the captain of their baseball team. But he embraced them publicly and he said, now it's time to bury the differences and proceed as one united force. And he said, we have to forgive. And he, in fact, invited the same person who had thrown him in a pit when he was in the prison and urinated on him. He invited him over to his presidential dinner and actually shook hands with him to send out a strong message that negativity, resentment is not something that we want to go with. And that made him great. I would say one of the greats in history, as his name, so many inspiration we can derive from his personality. Abhaji, I see a new hand today. Abhaji, please go ahead. I thought you turned your video on as well. Thank you for turning on your video.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Abhaji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, I have a question. One is when you meet people, even though you don't have resentment, like say I meet someone, I don't have resentment. However, you brought up something earlier from a corporate culture, right? When you're in a corporate culture, you get caught sometimes in the middle. One person is saying one thing bad, the other person is saying the other thing bad about the other person. Now, you're oftentimes have to go this way or that way, or you're stuck in the middle, right? And either way, you're caught in the fire, right? In the middle. Without realizing, right? You even though you don't want to build resentment here or here, by listening to both sides, you're caught in the middle of resentment. And no matter what, you get into this trap. How do you get out of it?
Right.
Or how do you manage that art?
See, the reason you will get into resentment for either is because you are participating in that conversation, right? You are actually contemplating that, this person is right or that is right. You are trying to reason it out in your head and you have started participating and implicating yourself in that whole scenario. When you are neutral to that in your mind and understand this world, everybody is working out of their self-interest. I just need to be smart and tactical about it. You don't have to take sides with anybody. Have you ever seen two people talking about, I was at mistake? Nobody. They're always talking about a third person who is at mistake. Right? Any two people, when they're talking, they're always talking about a third person who is at mistake. Have they ever said that, you know what, probably I could have done something different about it? So the better way of about it is be smart about it. We don't have to participate in this drama that unfolds around us, including our life. Be neutral in your head and be smart. We need to be street smart in our politics, office politics and stuff like that. Whatever works best for you with minimal trouble, rather than lending space to either person, right? Whatever works for you. I would say be selfish and be smart around it and get your way around. But don't take sides in your head. This person is good, this is bad. We don't know. We know only one side of the story depending upon whom you are listening to. There are always two sides of the story. So you be smart about it. Your job, how it's a temporary thing, right? Your job gives you a living, earning. So just figure out what is the minimum friction path for you to survive rather than taking a political stance. I mean, if you're forced to, maybe you have to, but I will be neutral. I will not, just think about somebody negative just because I've listened to one person, right? There are two sides of a story. We don't know that. You think what is good for you, and what will you gain by participating in that drama? I would be neutral to that. I may be smart in front of them that, yeah, I'm lending an ear to you, but internally I will not lend it a lot of mind space, because everybody in this world is working out of their self-interest. None of us is capable of working for the others or for the benefit. Even if you're doing something for the benefit of others, there is still an inherent self-interest around it as well. So what's the big deal? People will find faults in others. I will not participate in that drama in my head, basically. I'll just be neutral to that whole thing. Right. So that's the best I can do, because otherwise you will start lending your mind space and it will not take you anywhere. I
Yeah,
hope that
thank you, Nitinji. Yeah, very well explained.
Babaji, hope it answered you, but I'm happy to talk offline as well, the particular situation. But yeah, I have been, see, there's no office, no professional life, or no place, I would say, where you don't have some kind of a drama unfolding. Okay, and being human is being political. We just need to figure out a way to navigate through that. Understanding the big picture, it is just a temporary thing for me, right? I'm not going to build castles and homes here in my office. I just need to, navigate through it and get past it. That's about it. I'll not take sides or anything like that. Just be street smart around this thing, so that you have minimum friction to deal with and you can hopefully navigate through it smartly and efficiently. But I will not pick up sides and have, participate in that politics and be neutral about this whole thing in my head. So at least that's my thing. But we can talk more if there's something more on that. Let's hear a couple of other hands.
I see Pratyusha's hand.
See, it's like a quick thing I wanted to add. See, when we see a drama on the stage, right, we are spectators. Now, if we start participating, we start vicariously living it as well, right? A lot of movies we see, we start shedding tears. Oh my God, what happened? Why did he do that? So we start living it vicarious, and exactly that's what we are doing in our drama of life as well. We are not required to participate. We can be very objective and just be a spectator, that this is going to unfold after a while. The problem happens when we take our role not a little, we take it seriously, and from being a spectator, we start participating in it as well. And there is no need to actually, there's no obligation to participate in that, where we can take a step back, just be a witness to what is unfolding around you, and figure out a game plan to get by it. That's all, nothing more. Yes, Pratyusha, go ahead, please.
Sir, my like what I think about this particular point is, like in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, Arjuna asks Krishna Bhagwan that what makes a person act in a certain way. So he says that it's lust alone that covers, the ignorance covers like a smoke on the mirror. So I've been contemplating on that aspect, and I was not able, because when I look at a mirror, I see myself only. So how, what difference am I seeing in that respect? So I kept on thinking and thinking and thinking, and somewhere I got this message that it's not actually a mirror; it's kind of a window. So you see the beyond when your mind is clean. So when you are developing good qualities within you, I think the natural consequence will be that you see that in others, and at least you will become compassionate and you'll try to understand their position. You'll listen, and you will take a correct judgment based on whatever thing is. So that is my thing that I thought.
See,
I have some questions also.
Sure. If we are very pure and we are full of positivity, we'll not see negative things in others. In fact, Maharaji, in one of his lectures, he has said that when you look at dosh in others, fault in others, that is a sure shot proof of that defect being present in you as well. Just think of it, such a deep thing. Now, if a kid is there, will a kid know that somebody is doing some sly stuff? And no, right? They are innocent. They will not be able to make out somebody is doing trick or trying to cheat, or because they are innocent, they are pure. But as you grow up, you can catch it. I can see that, because you have that with you as well. If you were innocent, truly pure, that thing will come. That now this is where the things get tricky now, right? The dichotomy between you have to be smart in the world and you have to be bhola bhala and innocent in front of God. How do we take these things to hand in hand is the whole deal, whole art basically around it. But in general, it's a good attitude to give people benefit of doubt until proven wrong, rather than doing it the other way around, right? That person is bad unless he proves me right. That is not a good mindset to have, right?
Mm.
But yes, when we focus on positivity and developing good qualities in ourselves, then of course we reflect positivity and we see good in others as well, right? We try to catch that aspect, the good aspect alone, and it's a good mindset to have. But that doesn't mean you become dumb. But at the same time, you should maintain your positive outlook about things around you, and then you attract more positivity as well. So, very true. But yeah, if you have more questions, put it in that, or we can have a discussion. I can speak to you offline as well.
Like you've been saying that we are the Radha, like when we breathe in say Ra and breathe out say Dha. So I was wondering, like, what is the difference between chanting loudly versus chanting in mind versus I mean breath. So why is it the breath given more importance?
No, it's not. See, it's just about building a consciousness, right? Breath is something that if we can build it, that defines our existence, right? Breath. So we don't do it. We are breathing and we are not even mindful of that. If you can integrate it, great. But if you do it otherwise, that's perfectly okay as well. There's a Vakhari Vani. There are different ways you can do. There are times when you loudly do, when you do chanting. There are times when your lips are moving, right? And it's in a hushed tone. There are times when your mouth is moving, but the sound is also not coming. And there are times when you're thinking and you're not even speaking. All will have the same impact. The key is to recite the name with remembrance. That's all. Okay. Now, having said that, the breath is, I think, Maharajji gave a master stroke around it. Now that's bringing in mindfulness as well, right? So that is a good way actually. If you can do that, it's difficult because now you have to focus on your breathing also, right? And when you do you long shwasas, it's like getting closer to the yogic breathing as well. So there must be a reason he gave to that. But yeah, if you can do it, otherwise that's perfectly okay.
Sir, one more question.
Sure.
Shall I ask or someone else has?
Maybe one more, and then we can move to Sarita ji.
Okay.
Yes.
Today, and we'll come to Sandhya.
Okay. Okay. So
Yeah.
the thing is, when we leave our body, it's again said in Bhagavad Gita that we carry a mind. So wherever our mind goes, we go. So the question is, mind is material in nature. So how long will it take us? Like how far will it take us? Because the spiritual realm is without the material contamination.
True. So mind, actually, if you look at it, our mind and senses have two aspects to it. One is the material aspect of it, which we look at brain and these senses like eyes and all, right? Then there is a subtle aspect of it as well. Subtle means that subtle aspect is when you are asleep, when you're sleeping, right? When you're sleeping, your senses are closed, but you're still able to see. That is the subtle aspect of it. That subtle body is something that goes, not the material body. Material body goes to Panch Mahabhut. The subtle body, there are three bodies we have. One is a gross body, which remains here. Second is a subtle body, which has all the mind and senses are tendencies and everything, not tendencies, but the impressions and all that stuff is there. And then we have a causal body as well, which stores our sanskars of past lifetimes too. So when we depart this world, the soul has two things that it carries, like a water bottle and a tiffin pack a kid carries. It carries the causal body and the subtle body along with it. Okay. When Mahapralay happens, even the subtle body is gone. At that moment, only the causal body remains. But causal body can give rise to subtle body when you come back. So these two bodies travel with us. The material body remains here only.
The bhakti bhav is present in the causal body?
Yeah, bhakti bhav is present in the causal body, and your tendencies, I think, all those are present in your causal body, which probably constitutes your subconscious mind as well, which is a big ocean. It's like a tip of an iceberg is our conscious mind, and then a bigger part of is a subconscious mind, and those all impressions are stored in your causal body.
And it is not part of Prakriti.
It's not part of
Prakriti. material
Causal
nature.
body, no, causal body is basically attached to a soul, particular soul. So you have an individual causal body. It's not a generic causal body, okay? Prakriti is basically the material energy of God. Okay, so we are talking two separate things here. When annihilation happens, you get into God's stomach, Mahodar. Causal body, subtle body is very personalized, individual thing that you are carrying. Your soul, means your soul is carrying. So that is
I
why
was
it's important to
thinking,
work on your mind, because if you, whatever work you have done on your mind, you will repeat with the same mind. The quality of mind is not going to change in your next birth. You will still repeat with the same mind.
I was thinking about that rocket thing that we have the mind and just going up, 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 and it's like, say, Vaikunth or those loks. So it will depend upon bhav that we carry in the causal body, and in that state, whenever suppose we reach Golok, have the causal body with us.
When you reach Golok, the reason for causal body itself is gone. Causal body results in the suitable mother womb that you get into, right? The reason itself is gone now. You have gotten a bhav upgrade and you are done basically. Now you are going to enjoy with God and in his leelas at all. You don't need a causal body anymore to repeat on this earth at that moment.
So
Now
is
you
it like we
have
drop all of that slowly, 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 and
God burns it, everything for you basically. Everything is gone. All the panchakosh, everything is gone at that moment. Causal body is the reason for you to take rebirth. Now you are beyond rebirth. It's done at that point.
important for that bhakti to develop in the causal body so that we can reach wherever we want?
Bhakti to develop in your conscious body right now, right? Subtle body. And then, of course, it will feed into the causal body as well, right? In your coming. So whatever bhakti you have done in this life, you will get it as a gift in your next life, right? It will be easy for you to understand God and his leelas and all those things. And that all is, God has livers, right? And the causal body is one of the livers through which he is able to gift you in next life. Okay, let's take the next one. If you have more
Thank you,
questions.
sir. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
some deep discussions going on. Great that. I just want to remind Nitinji that I have posted link for the feedback tracker. So if anybody who has a lot more other questions as well, please put your comments, questions, feedback in the feedback tracker.
Please do. Yes. Sarita ji, I see a new hand.
Yeah,
Let's take
Sarita ji,
her.
Radhe Radhe, please go.
Today I'm going to tell you a very beautiful Bal Leela of Radharani. Okay, so I'll not sing completely, but few lines, but at least you'll relish that pastime. Yes, Sarita ji, go ahead, please.
Sarita ji, please go ahead. Yeah. It's very faint voice. Can you speak a bit louder, Sarita ji?
Is it better now?
No, we cannot.
We cannot hear you, Sarita ji.
Not even now?
Now we can, yes.
Yeah, we can hear, yes.
Better.
Okay. Very nice
Better, yeah.
discussion. Enjoyed. Thank you so much. Nitinji, appreciate it a lot. I just wanted to say something about thinking about somebody who is not treating you well. We just need to remember that whatever we are getting is our prarabdha, and the other person is the agent. It's like even in Ramayana, Ravan was only a how do you say, person playing the part. So what we are getting is our prarabdha. If we remember that, there was a story. Maybe there's no time, so I'll just stop at that. So what we are getting is through an agent. So
True.
there's no point in directing our anger towards the agent.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarita ji. Very nicely said. True. That is another way of looking at it. Actually, it is your package getting delivered to you. Okay. So you can't complain. So it could be because of our prarabdha or Krishna choosing to test you, or maybe a test that you have drawn upon yourself based on the lesson that you need. There are multiple ways a person who is spiritually inclined and who's working on themselves and has the big picture in mind would give enough reasons to themselves to come across that situation. and not simply get a dopamine kick out of venting it out. Okay, that dopamine kick is a very great trap. It feels nice to vent it out and feel something good about it. But a person who's of spiritual inclination and they understand the deeper principles will try to counter it through proper knowledge, rather than falling trapped to that situation and losing out on that opportunity to improve themselves spiritually. Yes.
Yeah, well point. Yeah, thank you. Aparna ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Balaji.
Radhe Radhe, everyone. I had a couple of experiences I just wanted to share. My daughter, very recently, she fell into an altercation because she's very naive and trusts everyone. So in the world, I had to teach her that, as you said, kids are pure at heart. I had to teach her that everyone is guilty until proven otherwise. So we always tend to teach something opposite of what we are learning. So I just wanted to bring that point. But in practical life, I think they need to know that she is, very innocent. And I was thinking that, this is how I taught her. But I am so thankful at the same time for that lesson, for my daughter given by God, because if she didn't get it now, it would have been very late for her. So I'm thankful in a way. And there was a big discussion, and now I understand that she knows how to behave. So it was very helpful at this stage of her life. And also the other thing was, my kids always say that I am very judgy, and so I started thinking, introspecting and contemplating. And actually, whenever I say anything like, you are lazy, or you have too sharp of a tongue, or anything, actually, when I started reflecting, it is actually my behavior, I think, so it is helping me change my attitude. So I just wanted to share those things.
Oh, that's nice. That's the whole idea of revising this knowledge and contemplate upon it and see how best we can apply it in our lives. That's the whole idea. Thank you so much for sharing that, Aparna ji.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much. Yes, Sandhya.
Yeah, Sandhya ji, you had hand raised. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Actually, that was related to the previous slide only. So, of course, like at least I am not at that stage that I can see divinity in everything, but just the very thought about it, that yes, divinity exists in every sentient and insentient thing that I come across all the time, right? That itself is super uplifting. Like, and I just wanted to express it, that can help in going from whatever stage we are into the, I guess, higher stage.
True, very true. See, that's where one is you're telling your mind and all that. And second is you keep increasing your devotion, take more dose of bhakti, double it, triple it, quadruple it, and then this will automatically happen. Right? This will automatically happen because as we keep on getting pure from within, as our mind keeps on getting cleansed of all the impurities it carries, this will be a natural consequence of it. You'll get closer to that realization that everything is a veritable form of God and there's divinity in everything. So great. Any quick announcements before we get to our devotional segment? We'll try to wrap it up by 10, 15 or 20 today.
Yes, sure. So one of the major announcement is, first I'll quickly go over the last day of Ganesh Chaturthi celebrations are at RKT. So tomorrow is the last day. Please do not miss to join if you are able to join. The second very important announcement is about the biggest ever DFW Diwali Mela. This is the festival organized by Radha Krishna Temple of Dallas, and there's lot of entertainment activities, Ram Leela, fireworks, Bollywood concert, laser show, cultural programs, and much more. So please do book your tickets. I have posted the ticket, the link for the ticket, and the tickets are available at RKT as well. So this is one, and one more. One more announcement is about Swamiji's retreat. Swamiji's retreat is going to be from October 7 to 9. Let me give more details about it. East Coast retreat. I posted the link. It is going to be in Baltimore, Maryland, and this will be the retreat with Swamiji. Enjoy this blissful retreat and divine presence of Swamiji. That's it from my side, Nitinji.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pallavi. So with that, I think we move on to our devotional segment. Yes, Monica ji, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe, Monica ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. This is for devotional, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have moved on to our devotional segment. Yes.
You're welcome to stay back. We spent about 10-15 minutes for our devotional segment. So now that we have completed the philosophy class, tomorrow we have a quiz. By the way, I wanted to remind everybody, our quiz master is raring to go. And our defending champion is David. David, you'll have a tough fight coming up tomorrow. And please prepare well for that. But yeah, go ahead, Monica ji. And I'm going to sing a Leela as well. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Radhe Radhe, everyone. जादू करके हो जादू करके ओ पिया कित गयो जादू करके नंद नंद पिया कपट जो कीन्ही नंद नंद पिया कपट जो कीन्ही नंद नंद पिया कपट जो कीन्ही निकल गयो निकल गयो छल करके जादू करके जादू करके हो पिया कित गयो जादू करके मोर मुकुट पीतांबर सोहे मोर मुकुट पीतांबर सोहे मोर मुकुट पीतांबर सोहे कब हो न मिले कब हो न मिले कब हो न मिले अंग भर के जादू करके हो जादू करके कित गयो जादू करके मीरा दासी शरण जो आई मीरा दासी शरण जो आई मीरा दासी शरण जो आई चरण कमल चरण कमल चरण कमल चित धर के जादू करके हो जादू करके कित गयो जादू करके राधे राधे
Radhe Radhe, beautiful. Was it a Meera bhajan?
It was a Meera bhajan.
Loved it. Very nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Very, very nice. Thank you so much, Monica ji.
Thank you.
Loved it. Now, what am I going to do? Okay. I'll tell you a beautiful story now today. Okay, so let me do that. We'll spend a few minutes on this. So this is a beautiful Radharani's Bal Leela. It's a Bal Leela Madhuri, and this conversation unfolds between little baby Radha and her mother. Okay, so I'm going to recite few lines and then talk about the story. I'm not going to do the all because it'll take a lot of time to completely sing that, but whatever I can cover. Let me get started then. Leela lalit rasa लाडली लीला ललित रसा लाडली. So as the story unfolds, little 4-year-old Radha, her childhood pastimes, they are sweeter than the sweetest. So one of the days, she comes to her mother. She's very excited, unusually excited, okay, after coming back from the play. So what does she say? Let's get started on that. She says, Tutrena batiyana kahati matute pakari chibuk arubha ladili. So the young kids, when they have to seek attention of their mother, they do something different. So this day she comes and holds the chin of her mother and her forehead and draws attention towards, okay. She said, Maya, today I went to the forest to play with Lalita and my friends. So mom said, yeah, I know you do that every day. So what's the big deal? Kind of, right? Why are you so excited about it? She said, you know what? But then suddenly came a group of ladies to the forest. She said, yeah, so what? But then she said, you know what happened after that? She said, Dekhan lagi mohi sab ikatak uni chumeyu mamgao ladli. He said they came, but they started looking at me. So looking at, it's not a big deal, right? We also look at people, and when they look back at us, we change our eyes, we start looking here and there. But in this case, those ladies, they kept on staring her. And that was a little disconcerting for the little Radha. She said, not only that, but then they came close to me and kissed on my cheek. She said, really? Yeah, she said, mother, but after that, there's something more that happened. She said, what happened? And then they said, you know what? They started talking to each other, whispering something in each other's ears. Okay, so little Lali is telling that to her mother. Mother said, really? Then there must be some kind of an evil eye on my little Lali, that ladies are coming and, talking and to each other, and there must be something that must be going on. He said, then what happened? And said, but they said, Uni kripalu asa कहती चली भल जोरी ही लाली लाडली. They said, then what happened? They said they were whispering, and they were whispering to say that, that she will make a good match, a good jodi for Lal. So his mother said, oh, now I get it. Okay, why are you so worried about that? But he said, who is this Lal, by the way, and what does this jodi mean? Okay, that is a question she's posing. So mother is saying she's not even a teenager and, asking these questions to me here. So what do I tell her now? So mother, nevertheless, she tries to salvage the situation. She says, those ladies must have come from Nandagaon. And there you have a guy called Lal. Okay, so they must be saying that with that Lal, we are going to form a jodi. She said, but I still don't understand what does that jodi mean. So then she explains him तुझी मी गुडही ब्याहू करती नेत तिमी सो ब्याहू करे लाडीली. He said, you play with dolls, small dolls, and then when you play, you sometimes get them married. So Jori means they are talking about marrying you to that little Lal, which is from Nandagaon. And then listening that, she becomes very excited. She said, you know what, mother? If that is the matter, then I want it to be done right now. Okay, we can wait. I cannot wait for it. So she's very excited and she accepts that proposal. And now finally her disposition is that, her worry changes into excitement. And that is where this Leela ends. So we'll do a little bit of Nam Sankirtan on this and wrap it up. Radhe Radhe Govind Radhe 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 Govind Radhe 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 Leela Lalita Rasa Ladi. Okay, so with that, anybody else who wants to sing today? Hope you enjoyed a little bit of Leela. Didn't do it in detail, but just touched upon it. It's a beautiful Leela. If you get a chance, check it out. Swamiji has done a beautiful narration of it, so I just loved it. Great. Anybody else who wants to recite anything today? Nobody today? Okay. Great. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no recitation. I just wanted to remind you, this was such a beautiful Leela. And this reminded me of last year Radhashtami time when we had recorded a YouTube video of another Leela of Radharani, which was very similar bhajan, but it was talking about Naradji coming and meeting her as a child. And so I just got, this was reminiscent of that. And so many beautiful bhajans Maharaji has written, which make us feel that, like it was true, right? He was witnessing things in real. And that's what he's making us also feel. That's just a blessing for all of us.
Very true. In fact, it is said when you advance in your devotion, the Guru will show you certain jhankis that are not documented anywhere as well, right? Those kind of jhankis he'll start showing you.
And
Anyways,
every kind of rust, everything is there, literally super comprehensive.
very true. I think one of the days we'll do the other one also, one of my favorite ones. It's a very beautiful one, which is Naina Neend Bhare Uthe Hari. So, how Yashoda Maiya wakes up Krishna. There are 4 jhankis in that. We will talk about it in one of the sessions. So it's a very beautiful Leela. Yes, Monica ji, you wanted to add something?
Please go ahead, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe. Nitin ji, jhanki as in Guru will show us for real?
Meditation, they will show you the stories or the pastimes that, those kind of things can happen too. Why not, right? Everything is possible.
Okay.
Monica, he's like, okay, the lottery, I've hit a lottery now.
Very
Great.
soon. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, so we can take probably one more hand and then we'll wrap it up. I will try to wrap it up before 10:30 every day. And I'm going to try to sleep early and wake up early, okay, from tomorrow. So it's a prana I've taken.
Yeah. Swati ji, Radhe Radhe.
Yes, Swati ji, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. I'll just sing 4-5 lines, not take much time. Radhe 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 श्री वृषभानु दुलारी प्यारी राधे ऊंचे महल अटावाली राधे ओ प्यारी प्यारी राधे प्यारी राधे
ब्रज रस बरसाने वाली राधे, राधे 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 राधे, राधे 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 राधे। तेरा गुण गाऊं नित ऐसी बना दे, ऐसी बना दे प्यारी प्यारी राधे। तेरी छवि ध्याऊं नित ऐसी बना दे, ऐसी बना दे। राधे 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 राधे, राधे 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 राधे। Thank you, Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Swati ji. Beautiful. So with that, I think we come. Hey, Monica ji, you want to say something else? Pratyusha, we need to talk. I think you have a lot of questions. I was quickly going through the feedback tracker, so maybe a quick call would help. I'll connect with you on WhatsApp or give you a quick call. You are based out of India or New Jersey?
So I'm from New Jersey right now. It's like 11:30, 11:21.
Tomorrow we can one of the things. But I've seen your questions. I think
Sure.
quick call would help for sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. So thank you everybody for another enthusiastic participation, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Kahoot day. So it's a lighter day for me. All the best, Rahul. We are all ready for you tomorrow. So thank you again, everybody. Radhe Radhe. Good day.
Thank you, Nitinji. Thank you, Nitinji, for such another awesome session and blissful bhajan too. And everyone, thank you so much for your wonderful, enthusiastic participation. Stay blessed, stay safe, have a great day and great night. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you. Good night.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe.